First, let me tell you what's going on with Joe Biden, because I think that this is an important thing for us traders. Good morning, Kareem. So, President Joe Biden is set later today, to unveil a budget that would increase federal spending to $6 trillion in the coming year. It's a ton of money, right? I mean, I know we're kind of numb to the trillion at this point, but it's just a ton of money. This is according to a report from the New York Times. Although such a proposal would have to get through a divided Congress where the Democrats only hold a narrow majority in the House and Senate, it would take federal spending to its highest level since World War II. If you go Actually, this is a great plug for Patrick. You guys know I love PBD, Patrick Bet-David. If you go to his channel, he actually posted a video about why we have taxes and where did taxes actually come from. And if you go back into the 1800s and even into the 1700s, taxes actually were imposed to pay back the wars. That's basically why taxes existed. We spent money, created debt to build machinery, to pay our troops, to do the things like that, to fund the war, basically. And over time, depending on which war you look at, we've been able to pay back that debt. And Abraham Lincoln actually wanted to get rid of taxes after the war that he created taxes to help fund. So the idea was never to keep taxes around. The idea of these, taxes that never go away is only about 70 years old, which is crazy when you think about it. 2 generations ago, they didn't always have this income tax that we have now. But anyway, let me keep going here. It says the president's new spending is intended to fund major investments in both traditional infrastructure and in green technology, deemed crucial in raising America's competitiveness globally, as well as being able to access community college, family leave, and childcare. The proposal is sure to raise opposition from fiscal hawks, worried that the massive increase in spending, tied with higher interest rates, will increase the country's debt payments to beyond uncomfortable levels. But Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told lawmakers on Thursday that Biden's spending plan represents, quote, a fiscally responsible approach. She said the president's proposal, you'll see, will have a temporary period of spending and a permanent increases that beyond the budget window will result in lower deficits and more tax revenue to support these expenditures, Yellen said when testifying during a House Appropriations Subcommittee virtual hearing. So she's saying, which goes against some of the statistics that we've actually talked about in previous streams, she's saying that this budget will increase spending and increase tax revenues and therefore help us to continue to keep our economy going at the rate that it is going. Because if you look at the market from the coronavirus crash, we had this V recovery and we've actually just continued as if that crash never happened. So they're trying to keep this propped up as long as possible. And it's interesting to hear them say against statistics that many studies have shown that if we increase spending, we're going to increase tax revenue in that way. By increasing tax revenue, we're going to be able to make more money for the government and use that money to bolster liberal projects like, what did we just say here? Community college, family leave, and childcare, healthcare, things like that, right? So it's just interesting to see how this plan is going to be rolled out. And I think it's important that we as traders are understanding of what's coming here because it looks like it's going to increase taxes for some of us, not all of us. So if we switch over to this CNBC article here, we're going to start here before we get into the chart. This says Biden's bid to tax inherited assets could be a documentation nightmare for wealthy heirs. So this is another piece of his plan here. Under the current tax law, it says assets that pass directly to their heirs benefit from a provision in the tax code known as the step up in basis, which basically means the basis of the asset is valued as of the owner's death date. President Joe Biden is calling for an elimination of the step-up in basis for gains exceeding $1 million, which would subject years of accumulated appreciation to taxes. Without the step-up, heirs and tax professionals will have to chase down the descendant's basis to determine the applicable taxes, and this could be very complicated, very complicated. So I think what you're seeing here is they're continuing to go after the super wealthy people, not even that, I wouldn't say super wealthy people that are making more than $1 million, they're going to continue to try to tax people like that. And to someone like me who is not there yet, but very close, and I'm going to be there soon, it's a turnoff to me that our government wants to tax the wealthy people because I think the wealthy people are the ones that create innovation. They're the ones that create jobs. They're the ones that really keep the country moving forward. Yet we want to come in and start taxing them. They're not going to deal with that. They're going to leave. I would look to leave. whether it's Puerto Rico or Europe or Mexico, Costa Rica, whatever, no one's going to sit around and watch 60% of every dollar they make be taxed or any inheritance that they make be taxed against them just to fund government programs that don't even benefit them. So you would say, well, maybe some wealthy people would want social programs because they already have so much money and they want to help. If that was the case, why wouldn't the rich people like Bezos take 20 million, maybe 200 million of his own money and start a fund or start a business or a private corporation that could actually make a difference? We've seen the government throughout the last 100 years try through social programs to benefit the poor people, benefit the lower class, and all it's done is dig us into debt. So why not let the rich people keep their money? This is just my idea. Keep their money, give them a flat tax, and let the rich people try to solve the problems. Don't try to suck every dollar from them, turning them away from wanting to do business in America, turning them away from wanting to create jobs here. Don't take that money from them just to, take money from Peter to pay Paul because Paul doesn't have what Peter had. It just doesn't seem American. It seems more communistic. So that's my thoughts on the tax plan that we're going to see today. We'll have to see exactly how it's unveiled. We'll talk about it more next week. Another thing, just an important news article that I think a lot of people weren't aware of today. Russian hackers launched a major cyber attack through the U.S. aid agency's email system, says Microsoft. Russian hackers thought to be behind the catastrophic, SolarWinds attack that happened in Texas last year. Those same group of people, it looks like, are attacking us again. The warning comes 3 weeks before Joe Biden is scheduled to meet with Putin in Geneva, and Microsoft said the hacking group known as Nobelium targeted over 150 organizations worldwide last week. The Kremlin said Friday it does not have any information on the cyber attack and that Microsoft needs to answer more questions, including how the attack is linked to Russia. Russian hackers thought to be behind this SolarWinds attack have warned that there's going to be another attack within the next few weeks. It says at least 25% of the targeted organizations are involved in international development, humanitarian and human rights work, said Tom Burt, Microsoft's corporate vice president of These attacks appear to be a continuation of multiple efforts by Nobelium to target government agencies involved in foreign policy as a part of intelligence gathering efforts. It's interesting, right? And we'll see how firm Biden is against Russia for these claims. I mean, it's only a matter of time before he has to say, okay, Russia, you got to stop. He's got to learn how to be a firm negotiator. I think that's one of his weak points. So we'll see what happens here. And then we could talk about the Ford F-150, but we'll talk about that later. This is an interesting chart. I always quote Charlie here. AMC's market cap crosses above $10 billion for the first time, up 20x year to date, but revenues are down 90%. So look at the market cap chart here from 2018, 2020, and now into 2021. Market cap at $10.28 billion. Revenues are way down here, as you can see. So it's just an interesting statistic to see how much, just straight Wall Street bets, retail traders basically can drive up an asset. It's probably only going to end one way, which means it coming back down. But I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. Okay, let's talk about some Forex stuff. We went over all this stuff. Real quick, I'm just going to plug the retreat we have coming up here. If you're interested in joining us in Orlando, December 9th to December 12th, Mike, one of our guys in Florida who's doing really well. I've talked about him a lot on our live streams. He actually reached out to me this morning because he's interested in coming. I see Mo is here. Mo's coming from Switzerland to be here for the retreat. So let me know if you want to come hang out with us, trade with us, and learn with us. We're going to do some business building sessions, some trading sessions, some yoga, of course, and we're just going to be hanging out, setting the tone for 2022. So let me know if you're interested. I'd be more than happy to hook you up with a ticket. And if you want to bring your boyfriend, girlfriend, business partner, whatever you got, they're more than welcome. We encourage couples to come. We've already got, I think, 6 couples coming. So reach out to me if you're interested. Put a comment down below. I can get in touch with you, and we'll make that happen.